Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful set of CSS selectors that can make your web automation scripts way more robust and reliable. I'm talking about the of-type pseudo-classes. So, you've been there, right? You're trying to automate a form, you write a selector for what you think is the second element, and it works great. But then, a developer adds a new div or a label somewhere, the page structure changes just a little bit, and bam, your script completely breaks. It is a classic, super frustrating problem. You know, all that frustration, it really just boils down to one simple question. How are we counting our elements? Are we counting everything in a line, no matter what it is? Or are we only counting the specific kind of element we actually care about? That's the core dilemma we are going to solve today.
Let's break it down. Over on the left, you've got your standard nth child. It's all about position. It just counts every single sibling element, divs, labels, inputs, the whole shebang. And because of that, it can be really brittle. But on the right, we have nth of type. This one is way smarter. It's type-based, so it ignores all the other stuff and only counts the siblings that match what you're looking for, like just the input elements. This approach is just so much more robust.
I love this analogy because it makes everything just click. Imagine a line of people. Using .nth child is like saying, give me the second person in line, period. Doesn't matter who they are. But using .nth of type is like saying, look at that same line, but find me the second adult, and it'll just skip right over any kids in the way. It's all about that extra layer of precision. All right, so let's properly introduce the tools that give us this awesome power. These three selectors, right here, they're about to become your new best friends for tackling those really complex, messy page structures. First up, we've got first of type. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, which is great. Within a group of elements, this will grab the very first one of a specific tag. Say the first input field or the very first div. Simple and direct.
And of course, there's a counterpart. Last of type. As you'd guess, it does the exact opposite. It finds the very last element of its kind among all its siblings. This is incredibly handy for snagging that final form field or, the last item in a dynamically generated list.
And now for the real powerhouse of the trio, nth of type n. This is our true precision tool. You just pop a number in for n and you can select exactly the element you need. You want the second input? Use nth of type 2. Need the fourth? Just change it to nth of type 4. This gives you absolute control.
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's get our hands dirty and see how this actually works in the wild. We're going to use a Salesforce developer sign-up form to build a selector, piece by piece, and see these tools in action.
All right, step one in any good CSS selector strategy is to find an anchor. We need to find a unique parent element that holds all the stuff we care about to kind of narrow our focus.
And in this case, we're in luck. There's a form with the ID orgform. Using form#orgform gives us a super solid, reliable starting point. The entire form is now our playground.
Okay, so building on that, the next logical step seems simple, right? Let's just find all the input elements inside that form. But as you're about to see, this creates a whole new problem for us.
So we write our next selector, form#orgform_input. This goes out and finds every single input element tucked away inside our form.
And what does it find? 9 of them. 9! That's way too broad. We only want one specific input field. This just goes to show why that simple approach usually doesn't cut it. So this is where we bring in our new superpower. We're going to tweak that selector. We're not just going to find all the inputs. We're going to tell it to pinpoint the second one of its type.
And here it is, our final selector, form#orgform_input nth of type 2. By adding that little pseudo class at the end, we're giving a very precise command. Inside that form, looking only at the inputs, give me the second one you find.
And the result? Boom! 1. A single, unique element selected. We just cut through all that noise and targeted the exact field we needed from the very beginning. That's the power of this technique right there.
And what's so cool is that this logic is totally flexible. You can target the first element with first of type, the last one with last of type, or the fourth by just changing that number to 4. And it works for any element type you need to find, whether it's an input or a div or anything else. So we've just mastered a really specific and awesome set of tools. But to really become a pro, you have to think strategically. A single tool, no matter how good it is never the whole story.
You've got to remember these key points. No single locator strategy is 100% foolproof. It just isn't. Truly solid automation comes from a mix and match approach. You should be comfortable using your entire toolkit, CSS selectors, XPath, whatever you've got. The real key is knowing which tool to use and when, and then always testing your choices.
And this really hits the nail on the head. Ultimately, it's about having a flexible mindset. The goal is to combine all these concepts we've talked about, positional selectors, these type-based ones, even things like XPath, and test them to build a locator strategy that's truly resilient and works for your specific challenges.
And that's a wrap. With these of-type selectors in your arsenal, you're way better equipped to handle those tricky, dynamic web pages. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. What's your go-to strategy when the easy selectors just don't work? Thanks for joining this explainer.